Man to spend life in prison for brutal 2020 murder. Guyana Times. Shaquille Fawkes, known as Max, was sentenced to life in prison on February 19, 2025, for the 2020 murder of Hanuman Jadunoth from Puturoyan, West Coast, Demerara. Justice Simone Morris Ramlal delivered the ruling at the Demerara High Court, stipulating that Fawkes would not be eligible for parole until he has served 33 years. The sentencing follows nearly 5 years after Jadunoth's brutal death, during which he suffered multiple stab wounds to the chest and neck. Fawkes, who had a prior conviction for armed robbery, demonstrated no remorse throughout the trial. His conviction was supported by damning surveillance footage, witness testimony, and forensic evidence that clearly established his involvement in the crime. In determining the sentence, Justice Morris Ramlal set a baseline of 30 years. After considering various factors, she adjusted the term. 5 years were deducted based on social inquiry reports, but an additional 5 years were added due to the cruelty of the offense. Moreover, an extra 3 years were imposed due to Fawkes' previous armed robbery conviction in 2018, for which he had served 28 months. During the sentencing hearing, a family member of the victim delivered an emotional impact statement, describing the profound loss and pain caused by Jadunoth's murder. The relative spoke of the emotional and financial toll on the family, emphasizing that his death left an irreplaceable void. The murder occurred between March 30th and 31st, 2020. Jadunoth was last seen alive with Fawkes and another individual on the night of March 30th. Surveillance footage later presented in court showed Fawkes attacking Jadunoth, who was carrying a water bottle, reportedly forced to fetch it. Another video captured Fawkes walking alone with a knife shortly after the incident. At approximately 4:45 a.m. the following morning, police found Jadunoth unconscious in the roadway, covered in blood. He was rushed to the hospital but succumbed to his injuries. A post-mortem confirmed that he died from stab wounds that punctured vital organs, along with additional injuries indicating he had been beaten. 2 days post-murder, police arrested Fawkes, who acknowledged being the individual in the surveillance footage but denied stabbing Jadunoth. He claimed another person had dropped the knife, which he later disposed of, but the weapon was never recovered. Throughout the trial, prosecutors dismantled Fawkes' claims, providing multiple witnesses who corroborated his presence at the scene. His contradictory statements further weakened his defense, leading the jury to a unanimous guilty verdict. The prosecution, led by Christopher Belfield, argued for a severe sentence, stating that the crime was premeditated and involved extreme violence. Defense attorney Lawrence Harris sought leniency, but the court found that the heinous nature of the crime and Fawkes' criminal history justified the life sentence. With the sentencing concluded, Fawkes will begin his term at Mazaruni Prison, where he will serve a minimum of 30 years before being eligible for parole. Guyana, Dominican Republic ready to collaborate on joint tourism product. Guyana and the Dominican Republic are set to collaborate on promoting a premium tourism destination, alongside their existing partnerships in agriculture and oil and gas. This commitment was reaffirmed during an engagement between President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali and DR President Luis Abinader. President Ali highlighted the importance of strategic partnerships and private sector ventures in driving the evolution of Guyana's tourism and hospitality sector. He expressed enthusiasm about the discussions with President Abinader, noting their readiness to jointly market both nations as a common tourism destination, just 2.5 hours apart. Such initiatives will set Guyana apart from the competition, providing greater leverage to enhance the sector, he stated. The launch of direct flights by Sky High Aviation Services Dominicana last year has already opened new business and tourism opportunities between the two countries. Speaking at the sod turning event for a new branded hotel at the Pegasus Hotel and Corporate Center in Kingston, President Ali emphasized the government's focus on capitalizing on Guyana's rich biodiversity and serene landscapes as prime tourism products. He remarked, "We need to leverage the diaspora to bring back their capital and encourage them to make Guyana their destination. We are collaborating with top global brands in eco and nature-based tourism to attract the best investors." The government aims to attract 3 million visitors to Guyana by 2030, enhancing the tourism experience through a calendar of events designed to appeal to a diverse range of tourists. Discussions are underway with sports and entertainment leaders to support these investments. The new independent branded hotel is envisioned as a bridge between the old and the new, with plans to demolish part of the existing Pegasus poolside and Grand Savannah suite to make way for this project. The facility will feature 170 executive rooms, a third-floor gym, and a 13th-floor executive lounge, along with a penthouse offering panoramic views of the city skyline. President Ali praised CEO Robert Badal and his family for their significant investment in this venture, emphasizing that the long-term success of the tourism sector relies on collective effort and resilience. CEO Robert Badal noted that Guyana's rapid development, particularly in the oil and gas sector, has transformed the country into a vibrant hub for investment. Despite challenges such as skilled labor shortages and financing issues, the private sector remains committed to significant projects that will contribute to the economy. Government ramps up efforts to boost HPV vaccination coverage to 90%. The government is intensifying its efforts to increase human papillomavirus (HPV) vaccination coverage to 90% as part of a comprehensive strategy to reduce the risks of cervical cancer. During a recent commissioning ceremony in Region 10, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony emphasized the importance of the HPV vaccine and the progress made in expanding vaccination coverage. Dr. Anthony reported that, just 2 years ago, vaccination coverage was only about 14 to 15%. By the end of last year, this figure had risen to approximately 58 to 60%. He stated, "We are making progress. But we want to get to 90% because that is the coverage that the World Health Organization is recommending." Cervical cancer, the second most prevalent cancer among women, is largely preventable as it is caused by the HPV virus. The minister urged eligible individuals, particularly females aged 9 to 45, to get vaccinated to lower their risk of infection. "We are trying to make sure that the vaccines are available and that we get people to take it," he noted. In 2024, the government conducted 12,000 HPV tests for the first time, with approximately 2,000 individuals testing positive, which increases their risk of developing cervical cancer. Dr. Anthony assured that all those who tested positive have been placed on a treatment pathway to prevent the onset of the disease. He also encouraged individuals to take advantage of the cervical cancer voucher valued at $8,000, which can be used at several health institutions. In June 2024, the government launched a $2.8 billion cervical screening program to help offset screening costs for women aged 21 to 65. Additionally, a new national action plan for 2024 to 2030 was introduced last year, aimed at eradicating cervical cancer in the country. Lance Corporal feared drowned in Puruni River incident. Authorities are currently investigating the suspected drowning of Lance Corporal Jermaine Batson following a boating mishap on the Puruni River, a tributary of the Mazaruni River, on Sunday, February 18, 2025. The incident also involved Constable Quincy Marks and Ransdale Melville, a 30-year-old boat captain from 3rd Avenue, Bartica. Preliminary reports indicate that the three individuals departed Puruni landing around 9 o'clock HRS on a routine patrol, aboard a 12-foot wooden boat powered by a 40-horsepower Yamaha engine. Constable Marks was seated in the middle of the boat, unarmed but in full uniform, while Batson, also in the middle, was armed with a Taurus pistol containing 15 rounds. Melville operated the vessel from the rear. At approximately 11:45 HRS, while navigating upstream, the boat's engine failed, causing water to enter the vessel and leading to partial submersion. In a bid to escape the flooding boat, Batson jumped into the river. As the vessel drifted downstream, Constable Marks and Melville managed to leap onto a nearby rock to secure it from being carried away by the current. They tied the boat to a branch to stabilize it. Constable Marks reported that Batson was initially seen holding onto a branch on the opposite side of the river. During a brief conversation, Batson confirmed he was unharmed and inquired about his colleague's safety. Marks assured him they were fine. However, while they were busy bailing out water and attempting to restart the engine, Batson suddenly disappeared from view. After a short search yielded no results, Marks and Melville restarted the boat and continued their search for Batson from the water. When those efforts proved unsuccessful, they proceeded on foot to a nearby camp to access Wi-Fi and report the incident. Upon receiving the distress call, Assistant Superintendent of Police, ASP, Chaitram, Detective Sergeant Jonas, and Constable Watts were dispatched to the scene to investigate. The search for Lance Corporal Batson is ongoing, and authorities will provide further updates as the investigation progresses.